Welcome back. All right, we're going to talk about Anze Kopitar. And I did do a video about Anze Kopitar when he hit 800 points, and now here we are talking about him at 1,000 points. So, the number 11 pick in 2005, which is very, very often talked about how he fell to 11th. And the concern was he was out of Slovenia, who he played against, not enough scouts had seen him. There were a lot of excuses. But the Kings came out of this with a future Hall of Famer, and he absolutely is. He's been an excellent offensive player. The interesting thing is his numbers are really good. They are very, very good, but they're not as high as you would think. When I do this video, imagine when I did the first one, I look at it and I say, well, his offensive numbers are good, but the way he plays now prominently is you would think he'd have more points or more goals. So his first year in the NHL was 06-07. 72 games, 20 goals, 41 assists, 61 points. He's fourth in the Calder voting, and immediately everybody sees what a steal this guy is. That he is going to be a two-way force. And what's really impressive with Kopitar is the two-way force part of his game. 07-08, 82 games, 32 goals, 45 assists, 77 points. And, 30 goals, he hits that there's three 30-goal seasons in there. So he's a pretty good goal scorer. He really is. But again, it's that two-way beast mode that he has going for him that's really, really impressive. 08-09, 82 games, 27 goals, 39 assists, 66 points. And it's right about here where I start noticing watching Kings games. They're a lot of fun to watch. This is a fun, young team. And I'm really starting to get kind of excited about where this team could end up. 09-10, 82 games, 34 goals, 47 assists, 81 points. He gets his first taste of the playoffs, 6 games, 2 goals, 3 assists, 5 points, and starts to get more noticed around the league. And the other thing that starts to happen is he starts to become a better all-around forward. 2010-2011, 75 games, 25 goals, 48 assists, 73 points. He ends up finishing 9th in the Selke voting. So this is where you start to see him getting votes for the Selke trophy. What makes a difference is that his face-offs are below 50% every season until 2010-2011. And then from there on, he starts to turn it on. Now, it's not a coincidence that 2011-2012 is a big year for the Kings as well. 82 games, 25 goals, 51 assists, 76 points in the playoffs. This is only his second playoffs. They win the Stanley Cup. 20 games, 8 goals, 12 assists, 20 points. So Stanley Cup. He's 9th in Selke voting again. But his face-off percentage has gone up. He's being seen more and more as a really good two-way forward. 2012-2013, 47 games over a lockout-shortened season. 10 goals, 32 assists, 42 points in the playoffs. 18 games, 3 goals, 6 assists, 9 points. And they lost out in the playoffs that year to the Chicago Blackhawks, as Chicago and LA were the absolute tip-top of the West at that point. He's 4th in Selke voting that year. So he's busting his way up. And it can be tough because you're trying to get past guys that, I'm not going to say that people vote for the same guys every year, but it sometimes happens where I'll see a player get an award and I think, okay, he gets that award, but was he really the best in that spot this year? It's happened with Vezina, it's happened with Norris. I think it's happened with the Selke. I just think there are times where the especially in the case of ones that are voted on by the writers, that sometimes the writers, I think, just get into this, I think that guy's the best one at this spot. I think that guy's the best one for this. So it can be tough to win your first award. Now, in 2013-2014, 82 games played, 29 goals, 41 assists, 70 points. In the playoffs, 26 games played. Took them a little longer that year, but they do win the Cup. 5 goals, 21 assists, 26 points. He was second in Selke voting that year and wins the Stanley Cup. So pretty close to winning a Selke. Really, really close to winning it. 2014-2015, 79 games played, 16 goals, 48 assists, 64 points. Not a great year for the Kings, but third in Selke voting. So again, it's that he definitely has that reputation now where he's going to be top 3 in Selke when he has a really good year. So the Kings, not a great year, but pretty good for him. 2015-2016, 81 games, 25 goals, 49 assists, 74 points. So that's the second highest points total he'd had to that point in his career, behind only 2011-2012. Actually, it's third highest. 2009-2010, he had the 81 points. So 5 games in the playoffs, 2 goals, 2 assists, and he wins the Selke Trophy. Not only that, but he wins the Lady Byng as well. So he wins the Sportsmanlike Trophy as well as the two-way forward trophy. And it's interesting to me how the two-way forward, the guy who wins the Selke, very often will be also somebody who is gentlemanly, doesn't have a lot of penalty minutes, plays a really strong game without crossing any kind of lines. And Kopitar is able to do that. And he's a big player. He could absolutely manhandle some guys out there, and I don't think he uses that as much as other people might in his situation. So, definitely a gentlemanly player out there for the most part. 2016-2017, 76 games, 12 goals, 40 assists, 52 points. You'll notice this points total comes down a lot that year. It comes down the same year he's named captain. So, Dustin Brown had been captain. They take it away from him. They give it to Anze Kopitar on June 16th of 2016, and his numbers come down. And he doesn't end up being highly rated when it comes to Selke voting that year, which is a head scratcher for me. It's always a head scratcher for me how a guy's points totals will drop and then he's not considered in the Selke voting, where I'm thinking, well, isn't it in the forward who best excels in the defensive parts of the game? So should it not be less tied to point totals? But it always seems to be tied to when that defensive forward has a really good offensive season, then they get into the Selke running. I've never understood that part of it. And the same thing happens with the Norris, right? Where you get a guy who's maybe not a great defenseman, scores a ton of points, and all of a sudden he gets some votes. And in this case, it's a little different. Selke's a little different than the Norris. Norris, I think, causes a lot more consternation and gnashing of teeth. 2017-2018, his best offensive season, 82 games, 35 goals, 57 assists, 92 points. But they ran into Vegas in the first round. And in a series where Quick and Fleury steal the show, Fleury is just that little bit better than Quick, and the Kings lose 4 straight. Kopitar had a goal and an assist that series. However, he wins the Selke again. So that's 2 Selke trophies. And that's right around where, if anybody's on the fence, but whether or not he probably goes to the Hall of Fame, 2 Stanley Cups, 2 Selke trophies. Highly unlikely he doesn't get in. So 2018-2019, 81 games played, 22 goals, 38 assists, 60 points. No playoffs. 2019-2020, of course, they didn't make the playoffs either, as the Kings go into the full-on rebuild mode. And Kopitar's never complained about it. I've never seen anything like Kopitar wants out of LA. Kopitar's signed to LA for, I believe it's 3 more years past this one, and it doesn't look like there's any chance he leaves LA or wants out, or any chance that LA wants to move him. In 2019-2020, 70 games played, 21 goals, 41 assists, 62 points. He was 7th in Selke voting last year. We'll see where he is in voting this year. I think he's going to be probably top 5. 51 games so far this season at the time I'm recording this. 13 goals, 37 assists, 50 points. And January of this year, he was named the first star in the NHL. It's the only time in his career he's been named the first star of a month in the season. He's been star of the week, like in the top 3 stars of the week a few times. But yeah, at age 33, he's first star for the month of January this year, which shows you that time off definitely benefited some of these Kings veterans. May have added some time to their careers. He's played a total of 1,124 games, has 346 goals, 654 assists, which is 67th all-time, 1,000 points, which is 91st on the all-time list. In the playoffs, 79 games played, 21 goals, 45 assists, 66 points. His all-star game appearances, he's got 5 of them. 2008, 2011, 2015, 2018, 2020. And if we'd had an all-star game this year, he probably would have made it in this year too. Face-offs, as I said, he was below 50% until the 2010-2011 season, which means that if you're following a young center and you're going, well, his face-offs got to get better. Sometimes they do. So Nick Suzuki, don't give up. 52.2% was the lowest he had after that season. That was 2014-2015. And this year, a dominant 57.5% in the face-off circle. It is not unusual for young centers to come into the league and struggle with the face-off part of it, as Kopitar had his struggles early, but once he got it, he's one of the best in the games at it. So for the Kings, as they go through this rebuild and try to build back to something better, and maybe never use that logo again, maybe use it again at some point on a third, but that'll never come back. I just wanted to use something different than I did the last time I did a video on him. But yeah, I mean, if they decide to keep him around, he may very well be on this team the next time they make it into the playoffs. And who knows? Maybe the Kings end up building themselves back to a contender. And maybe at that time he's 35, 36, still capable of producing. And who knows where the Kings end up then? Because nobody expected the 2012 Stanley Cup. Nobody expected that to happen. So Kings could be one of those teams that maybe eke into a playoff spot over the next couple of years. And Anze Kopitar could be one of the ones to lead them to something better. There you go. Let me know your thoughts about Anze Kopitar in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.